Okay, so if you guys have been around on the internet in general, then you've probably seen the news going on with Discord at the moment, which is obviously talking about the age restriction stuff that is happening over on the platform, which again has had a pretty mixed opinion from a lot of people in terms of this being implemented. But we've talked a lot about these kind of facial scan systems on many other platforms and how this can affect VTubers pretty massively, especially with their anonymity, right? Because, of course, a lot of VTubers tend to stay pretty anonymous online whenever it comes to their face and just anything to do with them personally, right? And, one thing that obviously worries them is things like facial scans, which of course, include using your face, right? And usually this is used to obviously verify the age of someone. Now, of course, a lot of the time, these scans never tend to be super accurate too, and people have been using different ways to kind of get around it. So, of course, that is just one separate issue there. But I do want to kind of hone in on the VTuber aspect of this and how this can affect a lot of VTubers using Discord moving forwards. Now, of course, yeah, they say Discord will age restrict accounts by default unless users verify their age via face scan or ID. Now, of course, this is a big issue, as I said, for VTubers because, what is really done with that data with their face. People have already had an issue with it on places like YouTube and that they were starting to try and put it out, which of course had a lot of people leave the platform because, again, people didn't want to give their face. They didn't trust a random company to essentially hold their information like this. And, they do claim that they will delete the kind of scans that they do on the face, but let's be real, we know how scummy tech companies have been in the past in terms of your privacy and your data. I wouldn't be surprised if they go around and start storing it and sending it to third-party resources to essentially, target you or whatever in terms of advertisements and things like that, right? And of course, a lot of people have been discussing this, including Kiosha, obviously put up this thing, which is like a little like a face scan, just screen recording. And then these are the people using Gary's mod and stuff to essentially move like a 3D model, which I think is quite funny. This is how some people are going to try and get around it, I guess, in terms of verifying them, because again, you can do it by using these models in games, which I think is pretty funny and tells you how accurate these kind of things are, right? These aren't going to be that accurate, which I think is pretty interesting, right? And of course, there are people putting a thumb there with a smiley face, which I think is quite funny too. But of course, Discord then obviously responded to all of this stuff, saying we've seen some questions about our age assurance updates. And obviously, they say Discord is not requiring everybody to complete a face scan or an upload to an ID to use Discord. They say the vast majority of people can continue using Discord exactly as they do today without ever being asked to confirm their age. So they're saying that essentially this isn't mandatory for everybody that uses Discord, only for some people that they suspect could not be of age and are kind of frequenting sites where they're not allowed to go, or servers or whatever where they're not allowed to go, right? Obviously, they're saying facial scans never leave your device. Discord and our vendor partners never receive it, which again, I do think is interesting, right? Obviously, they say Discord and our vendor partners never receive it. But again, I don't know. I'm very skeptical about that because, as I said, privacy has been a big issue for a lot of people, and many VTubers are worried about that. And obviously, they say IDs are used to get your age only and then deleted. Again, obviously, very skeptical about that as well. And then saying Discord only receives your age. That's it. Your identity is never associated with your account, which I think is pretty interesting, right? And obviously, they go on to answer a lot more questions and things. And this has also been brought up in a couple of, VTuber subreddits, including ironmouse's subreddit, saying, is this kind of concerning, is it not? I love see it says, yeah, Discord will require facial scans or government ID for full access starting March 2026 globally. Obviously, they put underneath here saying this is kind of bad, especially for VTubers who want to keep their anonymity. I know Mouse and everyone uses Discord to talk during streams, and when the UK implemented the forced ID, Discord had a huge data leak from a hack that had people's personal info from it. And yeah, that has people more kind of worried as well, is the fact that Discord does have a past of like leaks and has a past of like, their stuff getting breached. So why should we trust them with our data and trust them with our faces and IDs and whatever like that? Because of course they are known for literally getting hacked very, very often, which I think is pretty crazy, right? And so, yeah, obviously this person brings up a very, very good point there. And that's what a lot of people have been bringing up as well. We've seen in the previous stuff with the whole YouTube verified ID thing, Bao, the VTuber Bao, was actually kind of talking about it and essentially saying like, hey, you know, why should we trust you with our data when, you know, like, why can't we like trust someone else, like, you know, for example, like a government or whatever, to do it instead? Because of course it seems a little bit odd how we have to all of a sudden give our like facial data and our ID to all of these different companies rather than give it to one kind of secure place. Because let's be real, you know, if there's one place that I would really I guess, you know, I wouldn't mind giving my what you call data to or storing it in, would probably be somewhere with the government, because obviously I feel like that is much more harder to get breached, and I feel like they would actually have a duty of care to actually ensure that it doesn't get breached, right? Whereas if I'm like giving my ID and my face to like Discord, and then to, you know, obviously YouTube, and then obviously like, I don't know, in the future to TikTok and Twitter, and obviously then it, like, I've literally given this out to like hundreds of social media platforms, one of them's going to get out, right? One of them is going to get leaked. And obviously that's not so much an issue for me because, of course, you know, obviously you all know what I look like, but it's a big issue for VTubers and, you know, people like ironmouse, for example, who doesn't show her face, but also many other VTubers who don't show their faces as well, because, of course, that anonymity has been the reason why they are streaming and the reason why it has been, you know, easier for them to go live as a VTuber, right? Obviously, there's a mod team member here as well saying full details on the changes to Discord age verification aren't fully known yet, as it's being pushed by some countries at the moment, and so might not directly affect everyone. However, with Mouse's streams and Discord being an 18+ community, we do not foresee this being an issue for viewers and fans. We may respond to this officially in the future. Until more info is released, we will wait and see. And to prevent speculation and external drama discussion, this thread will be closed. Thank you. Which I think it's a bit odd, you know, you could just let people talk, right? I think it's fine, but oh well. I say all this means is the door is open for another platform to become the one used by people. Same thing that happened when Skype added a bunch of stuff no one wanted and moved on to Zoom. So see, yeah, people saying that, oh, people are going to jump ship and go to another platform. But I'm going to be honest, this is going to happen with every platform at one point, right? Maybe there's a new platform that everyone's going to be like, oh, let's jump ship to that one. But then that platform's going to slowly switch and ask for your ID and your face and everything like that. And then obviously you'll jump to another one and it will continue going on and on and on until there is no platform for you to go to. And you'll probably just end up at Discord again because, of course, you know, there's no other real option of where to go. So again, I do think it is a very interesting topic to bring up in terms of VTubers, and especially faceless VTubers that never show off their face, because of course there are many VTubers out there who do a little bit of both, right? They do IRL content and they do VTuber content, so maybe they're a little bit less worried about the situation and a little bit less worried about, you know, handing over their face for age verification to Discord. But obviously for a lot of the VTubers who are very protective about their face and don't want to show them at all, then of course that it can be a little bit of an issue, right? And obviously, you know, a huge breach or something like that could lead to a ton of harassment towards a VTuber, which obviously would be very horrible to see, and I don't want to see that happening to anybody, right? So again, I mean, this has been a crazy situation overall. I think that obviously, you know, the Discord age verification stuff, I think it's bad for a lot of people who want to stay anonymous online, but also at the same time, I can understand why they're doing it, because we've been talking about all the protections that should be put in place, like, for example, like the weird Discord servers and stuff, and the Roblox thing that's been going on, where people have been, you know, targeted by like literal predators and things. Of course, like adding age verification and things can, you know, help to remedy that, I guess, because of course, you won't have like kids going on the platform and potentially being targeted by these people, which I think is a good thing as a whole. But obviously, you know, it's just the case of how this is done and how this has gone about, because of course, yeah, you know, a lot of people don't want to hand over their face or the government ID, especially, yeah, people like VTubers who, you know, obviously keep themselves very, very anonymous online. But yeah, I mean, that is essentially all there is for the situation. I just kind of wanted to keep you guys up to date with what was going on. And yeah, because I just thought it was pretty crazy, right? And yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameStop, use my code Kaza, get 10% off again. They've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.